I don't look at much Beatles or Beatles related content on this channel simply because it's already been done or overdone elsewhere, but I couldn't resist today taking a look at a solo Paul McCartney classic. This is the track Junk, which appears on his first solo record, came out in 1969. It's this record here, it's just called McCartney, and it's a great record. I found myself listening to this or revisiting this record last week. It just reminds me how good Paul McCartney's solo output was in this kind of period. On this album, the second solo album, Ram, is another all-time favourite of mine. And this song is really beautiful. It's a beautiful song, beautiful chord progression. I'd not learned to play it before last week, but I sat down and figured out the chords. And it's a little bit more complex than you might imagine. You've got McCartney's quite idiosyncratic fingerstyle technique and some lovely chord voicings and embellishments as well. So I'm going to take you through all of that stuff. Let's get started. I should mention that there are two versions of this tune on the McCartney album. There's the song proper on side A, and then on the other side there's a tune called Sing Along Junk, which is an instrumental version, but I think the acoustic guitar part, which is what I'm going to be focusing on in this video, is the same in both of those versions. We're in the key of A, and we're starting on an F sharp minor chord. F sharp is the root of the relative minor. This is kind of the relative minor chord, and McCartney's playing this quite interesting F sharp minor voicing here. We're playing on the top four strings. We've got an F sharp at fret 4 on the D string, and then we've got 2 on the G and 2 on the B, and then using my little finger to play 5 on the high E string. So F sharp, A, C sharp, that's just an F sharp minor triad, but we're doubling up that A note with a high octave. So that's our opening chord, and I'm going to right at the start talk about the rhythm of this one and the strumming hand technique. So we're in 3/4 time. It's kind of a waltz feel. 1 2 3, 1 2 3. And Paul McCartney's acoustic fingerstyle technique, it's similar on other acoustic songs that he does. So Yesterday or Blackbird or Mother Nature's Son, it's quite similar. He's kind of using his thumb and his first finger primarily. Sometimes he's pinching those two digits together, and sometimes he's strumming or brushing with his first finger. And on this tune, it's a combination of those two things. So the basic idea is this: we're going to be pinching thumb and first finger on beat 1. So on the 4th string, I'm playing that with my thumb. The top string, I'm playing with my first finger. And then on the other 2 beats in the bar, I'm brushing with my first finger. So the basic pattern would be 1 2 3, 1 2 3. So pinch, brush, brush, pinch. And then you can get some up strums, up brushes with your first finger in there as well if you want to. So pinch, up, down, up, down. And that's the basic pattern that's used for this song. There's a bit of a swing to it as well. Da, 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 da. And I would just get a basic feel for that. Sometimes you've got those up brushes in there quite prominently, sometimes they're not in there at all. The part varies, or the picking hand part varies slightly throughout the song, but this is the basic feeling that you're after. So yes, we're starting with this F sharp minor chord. Then we've got this very classic Paul McCartney descending bass line part, which you hear on a lot of Beatles things, whether it's a McCartney track or a Lennon track. They were both really loved that kind of sound. So what we're doing is we're going from this to this. Another really beautiful chord, this one. So we've got fret 3 now on the D string, which is going down by a semitone. Then we've got fret 4, 2, and then 4 on top. And hear how beautiful that change is, that the voice leading there. And what this chord is, I'm hearing it as this, so a C sharp 7 chord. So you got your F sharp minor, there's the C sharp 7, which is kind of the 5 of that F sharp minor. And we've got the third in the bass. We've actually got an F note in the bass, and that's what gives us that smooth descending bass line. So we're going from F sharp minor to C sharp 7 over F with an F in the bass. And we're doing the same kind of pinch and strum thing on that chord. And then this one's straightforward. We're just barring the top 4 strings, and that's giving us, I'm hearing that as an F sharp minor 7, but it's got the E in the bass. It's like that kind of sound. So then we're going to this. It's one of those songs you're expecting it to go perhaps to there. That's the more conventional choice here. So you'd be going, yeah, that's a very classic descending bass line in semitones, but actually it goes here on the last chord. So it's a D major 7, so open 4th string, and I'm barring 3 strings with my first finger. So that's the first 4 chords. And what we're also doing is adding in some little melodic embellishments, which are usually just mirroring the vocal lines. So after we've done the first chord, on this second chord, you can just move your pinky up and then back again to catch the vocal melody. And then on this chord, it's the same kind of move. So just putting you could use your third finger or your little finger down at the 4th fret and then lift it up again. And then down at the 5th fret, and then we go to this chord here, which is the D major 7th chord. So just some nice, quite simple embellishments, but it really brings the part to life. And next we're staying on this chord, and we've got this part. So it's all basically D major 7, but we've got a little melody played on the top string. So just adding in those notes to the basic chord shape. And then, because it's impossible to stretch up that far, you can just depart from the chord shape at that point and just play that single note and then come back to the shape. And then back up to the 5th fret, and then we're going to the A chord here. So we're finally arrived at the home chord at the 1 chord, and there's this nice little embellishment or fill that happens here as well. So it's A chord. You're going to have to play this with a first finger bar here, so barring at the 3rd fret on the D, G and B. And then for the fill, I'm putting down my 3rd and 2nd fingers, so it's 4 on the G and 2 on the B. So going between the A and then this, quite a common little embellishment of an A chord. It's not this, but you've got your 3rd finger on the D. 3rd finger is actually over on the G this time, which is really nice sound. You hear it in some Rolling Stones stuff as well. So that's the fill. We're just playing the bass notes, and then I'm brushing the D and the G here, so hammering down. You can hear you're kind of playing these 2 strings again and then quickly pulling off. So it's our little fill, and that's the verse. I think that's played 2 times at the top of the song, so I'll just put all of that together at a slow tempo. Moving on to the chorus, and I do love the chord change going into the chorus. So we're going to this chord here. So we're heading to, it's kind of D minor or D minor 7. So that's an interesting songwriting touch that we've got here. The diatonic 4 chord would be D major. McCartney's gone minor here, and you've got that nice kind of melancholy quality you get from the 4 minor chord. It's used a lot in Beatles stuff. So we're starting with this. So it's open D string and then 2, 1 and 3. So that's really a D7 sus4, but then we're taking that top note down to the 1st fret and you've got D minor 7. So this is 2, 1 and 1. You're going to need your first finger just doing a little mini bar over the top 2 strings. So we're going, so we're once again pinching on beat 1 and then brushing and just releasing the 3rd fret note to the 1st fret at the end of the bar. And then next we're going to an A chord, which is just played in a straightforward kind of a way. You'll need to have the bass note and you want that open top string here. It's important that that's clear because that's a part of the melody. It's easy just to muffle or mute that string if you're not careful. It's a bit of a squeeze with this A chord sometimes, so I do occasionally play my A chord with this fingering instead, so finger 2, 1 and 3, and that just helps you get all of those fingers squeezed in there and it allows the top string to ring a bit more clearly. So that might be an option, particularly if you've got bigger fingers. Next we're going to an E chord, just a standard E chord grip, and then got a little embellishment on this chord as well. So we've got adding in the 2nd fret and then the 3rd fret on the B string. So you're pinching the B string and the bass note on beat 1, and you're brushing with these embellishments on beats 2 and 3. And then we're heading to A. What I'm hearing, I mean, on the recording it's double tracked and it's possible the 2 guitars are playing some slightly different things, but at least one of the guitars is playing this little fill, which is the same kind of idea that we had at the in the middle of the verse. So it's the A chord with this little embellishment. So you want hammer those fingers down and then you want an E note as well. So I'm playing that as an open top string. You could play that same note there if you wanted to. We're going round again. So the 7 sus4 to the minor 7, and then the A, E, back home to A again. And that's the chorus. I have seen some people playing some more elaborate chord voicings with this chorus part, and you can kind of get the bass line in there as well. I'm fairly certain that the guitar part that I just played is what McCartney is doing. I can't actually hear him playing any of those bass notes on the guitar. That's all carried by the bass guitar, but you could, if you wanted to, on that bit add in some bass notes as well. So perhaps something like this. So I've got a little part played in thirds on the B and G, and then got this bass line going on here. So, and then it's kind of frets 2, and then 2 on the G and B, and then it's 4, 4, and 3. That goes to A. You could perhaps go like that as well. So using some tenths here, kind of Blackbird style. So that would be an option. It sounds really nice, but as I say, you can't hear that on the original recording. I think on the sing-along junk there is an electric guitar playing some parts based on thirds, so you can experiment with that kind of thing if you want to. And that's it. It's just those 2 sections, a verse and a chorus. Those are just repeated later on in the song. And it's a really nice song to have in your acoustic fingerstyle repertoire. I think that guitar part is beautiful. It stands up really nicely on its own just because it's got all of that melody in there. It's also a fun song to sing and play at the same time as well. I didn't sing today just because I've kind of got my hands full trying to reproduce that McCartney fingerstyle part. I wanted to get that right. It's not really my usual style of playing, but I might well try and work this one up with some singing as well, just because it's such a nice one to play. The guitar I'm using today is my Martin D28. I thought I'd drag this out today just because I imagine this is what's being used on the original recording. I don't know that for sure, but McCartney certainly used a D28 from kind of the White Album period onwards and then into his early solo career. It certainly sounds like it's a D28 on the recording to my ears, and it's a beautiful guitar. This has long been my dream acoustic guitar. It was quite a while before I could actually afford one, but one of the reasons I wanted one of these is because of the Beatles association, and a lot of my favourite artists also use a D28. So people like Nick Drake, I think, used a D28 on most of his recordings. Neil Young as well is associated with a D28. And this is just a standard model. I'm not sure exactly what year this is from. I think I've had this for about 15 years or so, and it seems to be getting better with age as well. When I first got it, I was a tiny bit disappointed, but actually the longer you own these guitars, I don't know what the science or the physics of it is, but the wood dries out and the sound just becomes a bit more complex, and I think this one is maturing very nicely. That's it for today's video. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Should I look at some more Beatle or solo Beatle stuff on this channel? I'm not totally averse to doing that. Maybe I should look at some deeper Beatles cuts, or maybe some more obscure solo album stuff. Let me know if you've got any songs which you'd like to see me take a look at. If you want tab for this song, that's of course going to be up on the Patreon page. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.